Hi everyone, and welcome to the Icehouse podcast. I'm Bryar Stewart, the community manager at the Icehouse, and we've got two awesome alumni with me today from Owner Manager Program 52. So we've got Robin McDonnell from Phantom Billstickers and Matt Flowerday from GPS It. So welcome both. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bryar.
Awesome. I'll jump into it. I'd love to start with some quick fire questions. So we'll start with you, Robin. What's your coffee order?
Long black.
Nice. Love it. What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I've got two daughters and a retired greyhound, so a lot of time spent on that. And then when I have time other than that, it's getting out in the water, paddleboarding, and a bit of a fitness obsession. Awesome.
Great answers. That's cool. Favorite place in the world?
Favorite place in the world would have to be Big Island, Hawaii. Just love the active volcano, and just seeing land being made is pretty spectacular.
Awesome. Great spot. What are your top ways to relax and switch off?
Switching off.
Yeah, always a good question for a business owner.
Really like true crime podcasts. So it's a good way to kind of get away from reality, but also just spending time with friends and family.
Awesome. That's the first time I've heard that, the true crime podcast is a way to switch off. I like that. That's cool. And what was your first ever job?
First ever job was a dishwasher working in kitchens. So
nice. Nice, humble beginnings. I like it.
Job.
Yeah, it's good. Got to start somewhere. That's cool. Nice. It's a good way to sort of get to know people quickly. So Matt, now it's up to you. What is your coffee order?
No.
Nice, good one. And what do you like to do in your free time?
Interesting. My free time. To be honest, this year I've been trying to get back into skiing, so been enjoying that. And just doing some stuff with the family as well. So a bit of travel, barbecuing, just anything but work. So
yeah, it's good. Good answers. Favorite place in the world?
Interesting. I think my favorite place in the world is actually on an aeroplane. Just because it means that we're going somewhere. I don't really have a particular go-to destination, but either going somewhere for work or going somewhere for travel, which is one thing that I've certainly really missed over the last couple of years.
Totally. Yeah, I love that answer, because I've always said when you jump on a plane, like there's no expectation to really do anything. You know, like you can sit, you can watch movies, you can read, like no one can contact you. It's a win-win. That's awesome.
100%, right? So,
awesome. Any top ways that you like to relax and switch off?
I think probably like what I'm doing in free time, just anything outside of work, really. I do really struggle, like Robin probably as well, to switch off from work. My mind is constantly thinking about work and other things that we can do and improve on, but getting distracted with even going for a walk, just skiing, barbecuing, or just something else to kind of get into.
Awesome. That's great. And what was your first ever job?
First ever job, probably milking cows.
Nice. I like that. Awesome. It's a good way to ask the next question. So we'll carry on with you, Matt. Explain your business to our listeners and your journey of becoming a business owner.
So my business, so I set it up from the ground up. So inadvertently I became a business owner without even trying to. So I've been in business for 20 odd years, heavily focused on the ag sector. So I set up a mapping company using drone and GPS technology to map farms and orchards. Now growing that into more of a tech-based company with developing our own software platform and looking at how we sort of digitize workflows for agriculture.
Wow, that's awesome. How did that start? Like, where did the light bulb moment happen?
I guess I grew up on a farm, so you're always looking at trying to do things simpler or an easier way. I was always interested in how things worked, how you could do things differently. I guess how that my journey really started was my parents sold their dairy farm, bought a kiwi fruit orchard. Everyone thought they were mad. A company I was working for at the time had a GPS unit. We didn't know what to do with it. So I tried to map an orchard with it, was able to do that. And then it just kind of grew from there. And to us being that, we've probably mapped every kiwi fruit orchard in the country now. Wow. We're starting to do it offshore. And then, we're building massive data sets from that. And then what more can we do with that information?
Yeah. So super valuable, I'm sure. Oh, that's awesome. What about you, Robin? Really keen to hear your journey into business and where you're at now.
Yeah, so Phantom Billstickers is the longest established sort of outdoor advertising company in New Zealand. It's been around for 40 years, and we have a network of 6,500 panels around the country. Wow. And we're sort of one of the best street poster. So we operate at the kind of street poster level where we're promoting lots of different events and bands and brands and the like. We're kind of recognised as one of the best in the world in that space. My journey with Phantom started in 1999. So I'd been working in kitchens, and in my spare time I was going out and sticking up posters for friends and covering Phantom's posters. And there was this ad in the paper that was sort of read. It was kind of amazing because it talked about, do you want to be pitching to Saatchi and Saatchi and negotiating with property owners, and PS putting up posters at 4 a.m. and oh, this sounds awesome. I want to be part of that. So I kind of applied, and turns out the job was mostly just putting up posters at 4 a.m. But it was great, and I learned a lot from that, and sort of over the course of 20 years, and that was in Christchurch at the time, so we were only a kind of a regional company. Expanded our footprint into Wellington, and then sort of moved up into Auckland in 2004, which is sort of when I took an ownership stake in the business, and since then we've just sort of grown the business and grown our capacity. A big thing of what we've done, similar to Matt's journey, kind of like a city version of Matt's journey actually, is we've used technology to streamline the way that we do very old-fashioned things. So we fundamentally we put up posters, but we do it in a way that uses technology to streamline and automate certain processes of that to deliver the best customer experience we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was saying to Matt before we started recording that I've just moved to Tauranga, but before that I lived in Ponsonby, and they were definitely everywhere. It was quite cool. I was like, oh, there's another one. So yeah, massive reach and big expansion, which sounds cool since you joined, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the sort of big innovations that we did was just putting everything in an individual frame.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big thing that changed people's perception of street posters.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Cool. Matt, this is an interesting one. If you could tell your past self something about your journey, some advice or a heads up re business ownership, what would that be? What a question.
Yeah. When I first set up my business, I was only going to do it for 6 months, and I was going to go back to London. So I'd be telling my past self that you're not going to make it. But think more that you're in this for the long haul, and you can really grow it and make the journey your own.
Awesome.
And I guess if I look back, it would be back yourself as well. Have confidence in what you're doing. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've done, and Robin's the same as well. We're doing stuff that no one had ever really done before. Or when you said, I'm going to map a farm, or like Robin, I'm going to put up a sticker, they're like, well, what are you going to do after that, right? But we've been able to both evolve it into much bigger things. So it's just backing yourself, having confidence in what you're doing, and drive it forward. So So the same advice would be applying to anyone else that's coming into business is, really back yourself. There'll be times when other people may doubt you, but if you believe in yourself, you can make it happen. And the other one is really the focus on what you can control. And I think that's a lesson that COVID's taught everyone as well, is that if you focus on what you can control and forget about all the other periphery stuff around it, then that will put you in a far better space. So.
Yeah, that's absolute gold. What about you, Robin? Any thoughts for you?
I think probably just to surround yourself with really good people. It's a lesson hard learned for me, because I like to do and learn things myself, but to actually realize that sometimes certain jobs are best done by other people I would have got here a lot faster if I'd realized that.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think as a founder, but also as someone that's been in the business for so long, you're like, I just need to keep hold of all these different things. But if you hire talented people, actually you can go much, much further if you release them into what they can do. Yeah, it's a great answer.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Robin, sticking with you, when did you first hear of the Icehouse and the Owner Manager program?
I'd kind of had my eye on the program for a couple of years and had been too busy to take the leap. I think our accountant had actually done the program and spoke really highly of it, and then kind of in the middle of lockdown last year, and it kind of popped up again, and I was like, well, I've actually got time now. My travel has stopped, so yeah, I kind of jumped at it then.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great answer. What about you, Matt?
So I did a one-day course many years ago. It might have been, I can't remember the date, 10 plus years ago, through the BNZ. And I remember sitting down at that, and you had to write down a bit of a lofty goal, and I wrote that down and sort of put it away and didn't really think that much more about it. And then again, probably similar to Robin, knowing that I had to do something for the business. So last year, or the previous year, I'd focused on, did some director training. And for me, the thing that highlighted that I really needed to focus on the operational side of the business. We were going through quite some changes in the business. We were launching potentially a new brand, which was our Landkind brand and our software platform. And then when I looked at the program, it actually kind of lined up with the journey that we were on. And so then jumped into that. So that's how I decided to make the plunge. So.
We have some incredible organisations that help some of our alumni with scholarships and that sort of stuff. I know both of you have had a bit of support around, is it BNZ and Xero? Is that correct? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I did. I had BNZ. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And Robin, were you Xero?
Xero, yep.
Yeah, great. A great way to sort of kickstart being on the program. Really thankful for those partners that make that happen for many of our alumni as well. So that's awesome. Matt, why don't you sum up your Owner Manager program experience? We'd love to hear how you found it.
Yeah, look, it was interesting. I certainly do miss our catch-ups in the Waitakere. But just having that time out from the business to focus on it. Personally, I'd go up the night before because I was just so keen to get in there the next morning. But no, it was awesome. Particularly the first block, there was just so much going on. It was like, holy, there's so many things that we need to focus on and learn. And for me, that was probably the light bulb moment when it was this was the right thing to be part of. And then as we went through the program, there were some components that we'd already kind of completed, and we were, I guess, a fair way down that path. So it was great to then be able to help some of the other people on the course around what my experience had been in those particular areas. Right. Again, being in business for 20 years, you think you sort of know it all, but soon realise that you don't. But also that there are a lot of other people with similar challenges that you are about to experience or that you've experienced as well. So I guess that sharing, that open and honest forum, if you like, within the different participants that were there. So I'd certainly learned a lot from it, and it's given me a fair bit to sort of focus on this year. So,
Yeah,
and I'm really glad that I did it. We wouldn't be in a position, we would have got more challenges, I think, if we hadn't kicked off this at the beginning of the year, more than I realise now, looking backwards.
wow, yeah, good on you for doing it. I love we talk about it quite a lot, but I love seeing different business owners from completely different industries come together, sort of going, oh, this person probably won't understand this challenge or pain point, and then seeing them start talking and realizing, even though, you know, one's an accountant and one's a, you know, an agri, just the incredible similarities that they have and pain points and challenges that they can bounce off and support each other, and it's really special. What about you, Robin? How did you find Owner Manager program?
I think similar answer, actually. It was really about the people that you're surrounded by, and much like, you know, surrounding yourself with good people in the business to grow the business. You know, having good people around you to advise you and sort of inspire you along the way was really helpful. You know, I learned a lot from the cohort. Obviously the coursework was top notch as well, and I got a lot out of it. But learning from you know, people like Matt, who you, on the face of it, you wouldn't go, oh, okay, you know, GPS farm mapping company and a Billstickers company, they wouldn't have anything in common. But it's actually, I think I probably learned the most from the guys with agri businesses or the in the construction trade, which are quite, you know, about as far removed from the advertising industry as you could get.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love hearing that. Sticking with you, Robin, what changes have you implemented into your business, but also your lifestyle since doing the program?
Well, sort of, I've in the business, I've sort of put in a senior leadership team that sort of allowed me to focus on where the business is going, not what the business is doing today.
Yeah.
And that's been really, I think, really critical to our success and survival over the last year as well. If I was sort of, and I guess that sort of segues into what I've done myself, is I've actually stopped trying to do everything. Actually, you know, relying on the good people around me to take care of their patch. It seems really simple, but it's, you know, for someone who's kind of, you know, when you've been doing it for 20 years and you just know it inside out and you instantly know the answer to every problem, it's really easy to get tied up and get kind of captured by that.
Yeah.
So
is it going well for you?
Yeah, I mean, it has its moments. It's you know, there's I mean, this last lockdown's kind of definitely been challenging, but you know, it's definitely and it's improved our planning, like, you know, actually having our roadmap of where we want to go, you know. Having you know, I think they've putting our values and kind of instilling the values in the team and articulating those values to the team, which was sort of one of the early blocks that we did in OMP, which was really helpful and really helped us kind of stop and think and look at, well, what do we value out of our team, and what does make this sort of group of people really amazing, and instead of kind of it being top down, we looked at the people and go, well, what is it about that person that makes them amazing, and kind of articulated it that way. So that was cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Good on you. Matt, what about you? Any changes in the business and lifestyle side of things?
Yeah, I guess the big one, almost probably carrying on from Robin's final points around the people, right? It's, you know, been a big focus on culture and people.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, spent a bit of time, well, doing the Owner Manager course, you invest a lot in yourself from the business perspective, and so it's now really doing the same for the wider team. So the main focus this year has really just been on culture and people, putting better tools, trying to understand how individual people actually work, their strengths are, how we work better as a team, as opposed to, I think we'd gone probably a little bit too structured, and our business is sort of driven out of, we're flexible, we're willing to adapt, we always find a potential solution where there's a problem, and we'd lost a little bit of that over the last couple of years as we'd grown. So it's bringing everyone sort of back in, giving everyone a voice, implementing some wider sort of staff wellbeing measures, which we had kind of in play, but sort of carrying on with that journey. We've got one of my guys has been through the owner course, the sort of the scaled down one in the Bay of Plenty.
Yeah.
Got another guy doing the leadership program at the moment, and we've got someone else about to do the knowing your numbers. So
Amazing.
It's around getting them so they're like, oh, now I know what Matt's actually talking about, or the language that he's using. And then we've run sort of workshops across the team, particularly using the strengths, the strength finder tool, to really dive in and understand what makes everyone tick, and then how they all work as a team. And we're really starting to see some really good results from that. And I feel that we're in a really good space, sort of moving forward. Lifestyle wise, still trying to focus on my fitness, but we'll get there. That's always on the 90-day list. But they're probably spending a little bit more time away from the business as well, and with family and that as well. So just trying to, instead of working around the clock, actually starting work at a certain time and then leaving it behind later on. So and knowing that the wheels won't fall off as a result. So yeah, they're the main ones for me. So
yeah, lots of gold in those answers, and I know so relatable to other business owners that would be listening to this. That just the juggle of trying to balance lifestyle and business and everything that comes with that. For context purposes, how big are your teams?
Actually, I was just going to follow on to that last comment. I went to an alumni session in Tauranga a few months back, and there was a friend of mine, from sort of back in the day, and I didn't realise that he'd done it. And we're having a chat, and his comments to me was this was the best thing that he'd done, but it taught him to focus on how he could be a better person that would then relate to having a better business. So
yeah, great. Yeah, it's awesome as well to have those regional, Bay of Plenty's a great regional, great regional connections and people that, like you said, we have a regional program here, which is awesome for sort of those business owners that are in the region and want to connect with each other, which is cool. So yeah, how big's your team? How many employees?
We keep employing people. I think we're at 25 at the moment. And we'll be 30. We've got another 7 starting in 3 weeks' time. So,
wow.
So we'll have 7 interns starting over the summer break. So
great, yeah, of course. Lots of interns during that time for you guys. What about you, Robin? How big's your team?
About 30 nationwide.
Yeah, so really similar. Yeah, it's really good to hear that those size businesses, I'm sure that's sort of the point where, things like values and culture and wellness is just so crucial to make sure that we're fostering good connections and good teams. So that's great.
Yeah.
Nice. Robin, how have things changed from 2020 for you in the business? So yeah, big question. Since COVID, has there been any key challenges that you've had to overcome, and any top tips for that? It's quite a massive question. Take it as you like.
Huge sort of organizational change that's happened for us since sort of the start of 2020. Pre-pandemic, we're a business with a client deck that was really heavily focused on event advertising. So you can imagine we had to make some pretty huge and potentially culturally significant changes to the business to ensure our own survival. We were sort of largely dealing with a legacy business, and Jim Wilson started Phantom in 1982, and he's still sort of the sort of main shareholder in the business. So there was a whole lot of good mana behind the business that we had to protect.
Of course.
But we were kind of staring down the barrel of the gun, really, and we had to make some pretty significant shifts to survive another 40 years, really. So we sort of redesigned the structure of the business off the back of the pandemic to sort of handle whatever natural disaster, earthquake, tsunami, pandemic, RMA, that would throw at us, and have a much more focused business now. So a lot more specialists within the business that can facilitate our growth.
Awesome.
Which means that I guess we've in this last Auckland lockdown, we've managed to keep our momentum and feel like we've got a much more sustainable business. In terms of tips, a big thing for us was you keep an eye on the cash and your balance sheet, which I learned a lot from doing OMP. Actually, I was always as a leader always very focused on the P&L, but I think 2020 and now 2021 has kind of definitely shifted my focus, and surrounding yourself with the good people.
Some really key points in that, in terms of what you can focus on, and a business that has had to shake things up to survive, and you're doing that so well. And I think here's a good point to mention the article that you did for Stuff. Really awesome read about innovation and gaining inspiration from overseas and being able to bring that to New Zealand. Like you said at the start, you are a world leader, but it's awesome to be able to get inspiration from overseas, and let's hope that those borders open really soon, right?
Yeah. Well, that's sort of about just seeing what other people are doing and having ideas, and even seeing when people are doing things, if it's not right or not what you would do, it still inspires you to it gets your brain working, doesn't it? And you start sort of thinking, well, what could we do, and how could we do it better?
Totally.
There's only so much of that you can do, when in little old New Zealand, when you're the leader in the market.
I fully understand. It was a really, really great read. So I'll make sure to link it in these show notes as well, because it's worth business owners in any industry just to read and sort of know that you might not be the only one that's thinking, I need to get some inspiration from elsewhere. Totally agree. That's awesome. That's great. What about you, Matt? Any comments from you on 2020 and how it was for you?
Yes, so 2020. So starting with 2020, for 2020, it was sort of early mid-March. I was actually in the US when everything started to go a bit pear-shaped up there, and there was me and one of my other colleagues from work, and everything was sort of starting to shut down around us. And at that stage, it was like, well, we need to start to actually focus on what we're actually going to do here. And we'd been probably taking a bit of a scattergun approach of how we were going to expand offshore and what we were going to do. And so it gave us an opportunity to basically reset and focus and start to build out a strategy of where we wanted to be. Also with the peace of mind knowing that because the world was shutting down, we didn't have to worry about missing a trade show or not being there because no one could go there. So that gave us an opportunity to go, okay, now let's actually work on where do we want to be in the future. So we started working through that. In fairness, that's taken longer than sort of anticipated. But that kind of, it was part of that journey was what led us to OMP as well. So for us, it's been a very New Zealand centric focus for the last 2 years. We've got some work going on in the US at the moment, which is trying to build a entry plan for us at the end of this year. But we just need guidance from the government on when we can actually hop back on a plane and get back over there and start doing what we do. So we've kind of got ourselves into a good position now, but we need the opportunity to move forward. So the key tips that I guess learned out of that was focus, trying to focus down on where you actually want to be. And again, going back to my sort of earlier comment of what you can control. I mean, we can't control COVID. We can't control that trade show is no longer there. well, this market's not actually happening, but what can we do? And then make sure that we do everything we can, that we can control, to put ourselves into the best possible position to for our company, our customers, and our staff as well.
Yeah, brilliant answers from both of you. I love that thought from you both around refocusing, refinding what your unique selling point is, what your value is, what you bring to your industry, and honing down on that. It's really important.
I think the other interesting idea that Matt brings up is just that idea of a hard reset to the market, which you're only ever going to get once in a lifetime, and we've actually used that to kind of roll out different ways of offering our service, different ways of selling, and it sort of means you can almost sort of relaunch, and people don't realize that things were a different way, so you get a lot less attrition through doing that. So I think it's, in some ways, I mean, it's an interesting and it's a little bit of a gift that and for business, because you're only ever going to get this opportunity once in a lifetime to do this kind of real hard reset.
Yeah, totally agree. And I love how optimistic business owners are. They do see it as a gift in many ways. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Robin's saying, there's always a way forward, right? And it may not be completely apparent at the time, but there always is. There's somewhere you can go, or there's something you can try and do. And if you focus on that, then that's what will, drive you forward, right? So.
Totally. Robin, are you in Auckland personally?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just well done for holding down the fort, and I'm sure you and your team are doing really well. Was this lockdown, now that we're in, I think, our 10th week up in Auckland, was this lockdown taken differently for you personally and for your team than 2020's?
Yeah, it's definitely been different. I think 2020, there was a lot of uncertainty, especially in the early days of, is this it? Is this the end of it all?
Yeah.
And so you kind of didn't really know what you were planning for. Whereas in 2021, whilst it's been longer, I think everyone realizes that it's going to end at some point, and it's just a matter of hanging on. And that doesn't necessarily mean a lot for the hospitality that are really struggling and can't open until level 2. But it is it's definitely a different sense of optimism in the market.
Great to hear. Yeah, it's interesting. I know we personally have felt with many of our business owners that we've talked to that this lockdown just felt different. There was a way forward. We knew what life looked like on the other side, and although it may look different again this time, we can sort of have a picture of what that would look like, and that our businesses can get through it and work towards that. So yes, let's hope there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and we can come down those levels quickly, but safely. Awesome. Sticking with you, Robin. Last question. What excites you about the future of business and your business specifically?
Oh,
another one, big one.
I guess. I mean, I love using technology to find new ways to solve problems, and but still delivering an authentic experience to our advertisers. So I'm sort of excited about being kind of at street level with innovation, and the realization that we've sort of carved out this really specific niche in outdoor advertising, and quite sort of amped to see where our team can take it, because I think we're onto something special here.
Yeah.
I think Phantom Foot sort of strikes the perfect balance between sort of respecting the values of the legacy product and system that we kind of promote, and improving that kind of customer experience. So I think we're onto something, and yeah, sort of can't wait for things to open up so we can get on with it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Phantom's definitely shaking things up, and a very creative business. I always love seeing the creativity at every sort of street corner. I love it. So well done on building, an incredible business and team around you, and know it's going to just flourish on the other side of this. So well done. What about you? What about you, Matt? What excites you about future of business and your business?
I guess the future of business is this rapid escalation towards digital.
Yeah.
And so we, like mapping, we were really like kind of a paper-based business, and people now realize it's better to do that with digital, but also what that then starts to unlock. The collaboration component where people, are starting to work more closely together to support others and other businesses, sort of driving towards a common goal. I guess the increased focus on sustainability as well. And so then when I put it in the context of what we're doing is, as we've gone through the business owner management program, we've actually split the company in half. So we've kept GPS as a strong legacy brand around mapping, but we've created our own separate business called Landkind, which is our digital mapping platform. But that's really around sustainability now. So using maps as a base point, but then pulling all the different bits of information and working with people around how we deliver sustainable outcomes for people. So finally, for me, it feels that the pieces of the puzzle have actually started to fit together. A bit like Robin, that we didn't, in the end, we set out to sort of build an app, but we've actually built a new way of doing things in a platform, and it's sort of inadvertently, which then puts us in really good stead moving forward, so we can kind of weather the changes that come through, be adaptable, and deliver great outcomes for our customers, whatever way, shape, or form they may want to take. So,
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you've followed an idea that you're like, hey, this is working. You've kept following it, and now you've developed some really great processes and a whole new business model, it sounds, which is really exciting. Great. Thank you so much to you both, Matt and Robin, for being on the podcast and sharing about your journey as business owners, also on the program itself. But also, more recently, how times have really changed in the last couple of years and how you've adapted to that. It's no easy feat for either of you. So appreciate all the hard work and mahi behind the scenes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.